Today I'm here with Imtiaz Ali for a conversation. It will be an informal conversation because he says so, because formality is not his cup of tea, right? Yeah, he doesn't need any other introduction. He has his movies, his art is speaks for himself, and everyone like me is a great fan uh, of his movies, of his art, of his work. So without wasting much time, I will go ahead with the questions that are lined up. There are many questions, and there are many DU students here who are eagerly waiting to ask a lot of questions. So I will head straight away to Imtiaz Ali. When I opened your Instagram profile, just to check your work and what is going on right now, so two words really struck like my eyes and my heart. That says home, Jamshedpur. That's all in his bio. We write so many introductions, and he just had two words, home, Jamshedpur. So all the Assamese people out here, they all are very rooted, very, they're always going back to their roots. And here we are in New Delhi, and there are a lot of Assamese people from all across coming here just for the conclave. So that root that you have, that really, kind of touched my heart. And it says Jamshedpur. So I have been there. It's a small town, but then it has produced an ace director like you. So tell us something about your childhood. How did you spend, and what was it like, and how did it promote you in this direction of your life?
I'm so glad that you start the conversation like this. And although I don't remember why I must have put that in the bio, because this was done a long time back and I must have meant it. But suddenly, I also thinking about it got emotional. Because, after a while, and a person who is in the field of arts, he doesn't belong anywhere. He cannot be rooted in the way of physically rooted. You have to be anywhere. Papon is here, he's in Bombay. We are shooting somewhere. We are meeting all people are brothers. And, but while you belong to everywhere, somehow I enjoy the fact that I belong to one place, and that is Jamshedpur. And growing up in Jamshedpur, I feel that Jamshedpur might be the best place in the country or even the world to be raised, because it's a small place. So it has the Indian value systems of a small place, and where everybody knows each other, etc., etc. But also, there is a lot of exposure there. There are 2 golf courses in that small town. There are multitudes of swimming pool and even horse riding ranges. So a person from Jamshedpur is very well developed in everything. Also, it's a very cosmopolitan town because it was built by the Tatas because of the factory. So people came from all over the world actually, but definitely from all parts of the country. So wahan pe there are a lot of South Indians, East Indians, categories of people. So in the street that we used to stay, there was a Bihari, then there was a Bengali, then there was somebody from the Northeast, somebody from Gujarat. Very, very diverse. तो हम लोग जब बड़े हो रहे थे तो जो घर में चले जाते थे तो मतलब हमको पता था कि किसी बिहारी के घर का दाल कैसा होता है और बंगाली के घर का तरकारी कैसा
That helped you in...
That helped a lot doing films. And also film में क्या है कि people also have to understand that it's a very people's job. आप हमेशा 200 लोग आपके साथ होते हैं और आप नई नई जगह जाते हो, वहाँ दूसरे लोगों से मिलते हो, तो to have an insight about their cultural differences or their nuances already makes you feel at home.
Right.
So I think that has helped me a lot.
Right. Then we have a beautiful crowd over here. Everyone's from Delhi University. They have traveled all across the nation and they have come here in the heart of the country.
How many people are here from Delhi University?
Raise your hands. So a lot of them.
And how many people stay in the hostels there? No one.
PGs, I think. They all are from PG.
Acha, PGs. But how many people stay in the North Campus? So how do you come here? Bus? What's the number now? Acha, you hired a bus. Okay. मेट्रो, हाँ मेरे टाइम में मेट्रो नहीं था, हम लोगों को बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता था. वी यूज्ड टू गो टू सेंट्रल सेक्रेटेरिएट फ्रॉम नॉर्थ कैंपस, फिर वहाँ से बस चेंज करके वी यूज्ड टू कम हियर. आई रिमेंबर आई यूज्ड टू कम टू अशोका होटल वन टाइम. आई हैड कम एंड आई हैड सीन द शैंडलियर्स. मेरे को लगा पहली बार आई हैड सीन शैंडलियर्स लाइक दैट. इट्स लाइक वाओ, ये क्या जगह है, कभी आएंगे लाइफ में, हो सकता है जिंदगी रही तो. यू नो आई आल्सो हैव अ मील देयर. कॉफी पिएंगे, पैसा होगा तो फिर रहेंगे यहाँ पे. सो वो सब करने के बाद अभी लगता है वही बेटर था.
So how were your college days over here in Delhi?
I did a lot of theatre while in Delhi, and I was in Hindu college in English honors. And तो वहाँ एक theatre group, like me and my friend started a theatre group which still runs actually. It's called Ibtida. It's a dramatic society. Now it does more street theatre, but in my day it used to do proscenium as well as street theatre. तो हम लोग theatre बहुत करते थे. Here I was also a part of a group in Mandi House called Act One, and there I was the junior most, and in my college I was the president of the society and mostly the director for the plays. So that I used to do. My principal and the university students will really enjoy this. There was this gentleman called Mr. P.C. Verma, who was the principal of Hindu College. And so my attendance was a little short. So then I approached him because I used to do plays and all that. So I didn't know him before that. So I said, sir, my attendance is a little short. So he said, this you must hear. Mr. P.C. Verma, principal, said to me in his office, don't waste your time attending class, son. Okay. He was also one of the teachers in the English department. I was shocked. Well, don't waste your time. I will give you the attendance. As a deal, you must do 2 productions for the college every year.
Wow. He recognized your talent way back.
Imagine. And after that, even one class I didn't attend.
Okay.
And I always got the attendance. Yeah, so I think now I think the syllabus is also improved. I'm not suggesting you guys do that. But yeah, those days I think it was good.
That's how you started. You started very young. And 21 years, he was already a director to a TV show. That's incredible. So was there any struggle in that time and way up to Bombay?
You know, the people feel that the struggle is a period of time which ends.
It doesn't end?
It doesn't end.
Okay.
And success has nothing to do with struggle. In fact, if you have more success, you will have more struggle. And you might have struggle or you might have lean period between 2 big hit albums or 2 big hit movies. So I think struggle will always be there and you have to enjoy it and use it. And so I feel that struggle must have been there. It's still there in my life, so nothing has changed.
On sets, like it's generally said that, you get a lot of female attention. Is it true? And it's apparently that Deepika Padukone, gave you a lot of attention, and that's how Ranveer Kapoor was a little annoyed at that, something like that. Do you remember? Long time back when
These people that you're talking about, especially the lady that you spoke of, she's a highly unreliable person. never believe any word of what she says. Okay? I think she's a very close friend, and so is Ranveer. So she always used to have this thing on the set all the time, you know, playing this joke about me and the fact that I'm not giving her attention and why am I talking to that girl, and एक हमारा एक drama चलता रहता था shooting में. So that was just her way. And what she used to do is that she used to, when I did a film with Deepika before I did a film with Ranveer. So she used to evidently go and tell him about how the day was and how when we were shooting. So he was like, who the hell is this guy? Let me also meet him. And then, of course, I met Ranveer, and then we did films together and all of that. So
Great.
we are all basically friends. And the good thing about both of them is that, you know, they are in the world of glamour, but they are true artists. So we have really enjoyed working together, especially when the three of us got the chance to work together.
So yeah, coming to glamour, a lot of people, when they reach on the top, they don't know how to actually handle that glamour, that, you know, factor that so much of attention is given. And when they come on set, you deal with so many stars, so many, you know, actors and actresses who are old, but, you know, who are newcomers as well. So how do you handle them? Do they throw tantrums on you, or, you know, it's cordial, like?
I have never faced a situation where an artist has actually thrown tantrum without a reason. Never at all. I feel, on the other hand, that actors, especially those that are popular and are stars, very, very, very easily and very often get like their actual pain and their actual struggles and what they are going through at that moment doesn't get recognized by people, and sometimes even by unit members. You know, what happens with an actor is that he has to look in a certain way. He has to also be in a certain frame of mind because he's in front of the camera. You know, so he has to do that extra thing. So if he has done a lot of work and he's tired, he needs that rest for the shot to be good for the film. You know, so he bears that responsibility. So it's not, I feel that actors need to be loved and protected and not just adulated. It is they also have to be understood because their work is very difficult. We feel that it is very glamorous, but it's very tough. The life of a Deepika Padukone is far tougher than anyone in this room on a daily working basis. She has to get up very early in the morning, do that exercise regime, do the makeup regime, change 20 costumes in the day, try to look good, feel fresh. So it's very tough.
So coming back to regional cinema, during the time we had our first Assamese movie, Jyoti Prasad Agarwala, he had done this Joymoti cinema in 1930s. And around the same time, South India also had their first movie. Right now, present situation, South Indian movie is doing way better than Assamese film industry. And Assamese film industry has a lot of, you know, drawbacks, but then yes, we are doing great movies, but not as par with South Indian movies. They are making, you know, crores in box office. And that is not happening with our Assamese film industry. Could you tell us a few things for success? How does, you know, a regional entertainment industry buckle up for that extra success, you know, that we are lacking right now?
You see, cinemas don't operate in isolation or in a vacuum. They are a part of many things. You will notice that in South or in West and in East, many things are similar and at the same status. So, I'm not talking particularly about Assam, so don't beat me up. But there are many infrastructural things that have to improve, you know. there are many things that have to come to a certain level. Cinema will also has to come to a certain level of popularity. Within cinema itself, you know, just the creativity or the making of the cinema is not everything. There is also distribution, the number of theaters, the whole pipeline of cinema theaters and distributors and makers and the presence of finance, and that whole market has to get ready. It takes a while. You know, the South Indian film industry has done it over a period of time, and why they have survived is that over a period of time, they have a very faithful audience base that comes to the theater and watches movies, so much so that South mein kya hota hai ki if somebody is caught doing piracy, then the audience beats them up. They are so faithful to cinema. It takes a while to develop that. I think there is also a difference between the flavor of the East and the South. For instance, I feel that there is more delicacy, more sophistication in the stories of the East. I feel, and South can also catch your attention they can grab attention very fast. The kind of cinema, the kind of stories also. So I think वो किसी का ना time आता है, but you've got to work very hard towards it, and all the arts have to work and develop in that direction.
Another question that I always have is, in Bombay, there are people from all across that, you know, comes to Bombay to work as film directors, technician, makeup artist, all. And from Assam also, I'm sure there are n number of people who have gone there working and aspires to work. So some are successful, like we have in our crowd, Angarag, Papan Mohondo, and some are not, you know, the struggle is real, very real. And so what do you suggest to them? Because again, our dialect is a little different. And we have that accent. When we speak in Hindi, it's not very, you know, clear, like Seema Vishwas ji had just spoken. So she has that, you know, she says that the soul has to connect to the art, and, you know, the language can't be a barrier. What is your take?
See, regional work is very important, I feel. Whatever culture you come from, like if in Assam, to work in the Assamese dialect, to do theater, to do music, that comes to you. Because abhi kya hai, आप अगर देखोगे दुनिया में, all the popular songs, like, you know which song they are playing in Ganpati in Bombay? They are not playing any Hindi song. They are playing Game of Thrones, which has no lyrics. You know, they are playing Bella Ciao. Who knows Bella Ciao? It's an Italian song in a Spanish show. It's a very old, so वो Italian गाना है. वो कैसा connect कर रहे हैं मराठी लोग? Because as Seema ji was saying, that the soul has connected to their art. So I feel, don't lose your originality. Don't try to lose it. If you lose it, you'll have nothing new. Then you will be in the race when you will be a faceless entity. The only reason people want to come and watch a certain cinema is because of its unique scent. So I don't think the Assamese artist should lose his scent. You know, he should be who he is. Characters will be written for them. They will make their own films, you know. So every true artist, like a singer, Papan would know, that you have to have the ability of singing in a pure way, and your musical instrument should be clear of any regional bias. वो practice से आता है, वो भी करना चाहिए, but अपना जो scent नहीं खोना चाहिए. That's what I feel in order to develop.
You're always known for your characters, and be it, you know, Veera from Highway or Meera from Love Aajkal. Then there is also from Rockstar. I think it's Heer, yeah. And then there is Geet also. So all the women characters, they're very unique, you know. You have, how do you create these characters? Because every, I think, woman or girl, whoever watches those characters can relate on emotional basis. So how do you create those characters?
I don't think there is a process that I am aware of creation that creates them. I think they are more born out of fascination, because it is true that I'm more interested in women than I am in men. So I have been looking at them. I have a lot of
Are these
experience.
characters surrounding
Somewhere,
in you?
I think somewhere, one tends to take from the people that you meet, but it's never complete. You take some aspect of somebody, and then the imagination makes her somebody else. It's always the case like that. But it's true that I have seen women or parts or aspects of women around me in the same way, and that forms with a little bit of imagination to become the character. So in a way, what I'm doing is that जो मैं देख रहा हूँ वही दिखा रहा हूँ. I'm not really creating something from pure imagination either.
You always tell that your stories come from your surroundings. So I think the female characters also comes from your surroundings, right?
Yeah, yeah. They do come from my surroundings, but I have seen people like this. Like I have seen girls in Delhi, in buses in Delhi that we were talking about. Punjabi girls that talk a lot. All of us, some of us, हाँ, या बिना पूछे ही बहुत कुछ बता देते हैं. बहुत ज़्यादा बात करने के बाद ये भी बोलते हैं कि इतनी बात कर रही हूँ इसका मतलब है आप गलत मत समझ लेना. And so this irresistible talk, this thing, a lot of girls I've met in Delhi specifically somehow, that feel that brilliant ideas are popping in their heads, and it is their responsibility to tell it fast to everybody. So, and also I've met girls who are so strong, but they're very silent. And they know much better than the male counterpart, but they don't say anything because they don't want to hurt the other person. But they are very often, I've seen in people in relationships with each other, etc., where the girl is much stronger and more silent and letting the man win. That is so big and so smart also. So I think that aspect also reflects somewhere in my own films, and I don't deliberately write it, but this is what I know about women, and this is what gets represented. So you'll have a Tara like that, who can save you, who can help you. And so it's basically, and a lot of girls, unfortunately, I've seen in society, not happy to say so, that feel that मैं भाग जाऊंगी एक दिन यहाँ से. Which was the case with Veera, that there is something subconscious, sometimes very unpleasant, sometimes not so unpleasant, but this whole feeling that I'll run away. मैं बोल रही हूँ मैं भाग जाऊंगी यहाँ से. Boys also say it, but fewer times. But girls say it a lot. So, just to think about what goes on in the head.
But then your character, she's a very strong character. And the depiction of her entire boldness and everything, it's different from your movies actually. So how did that come?
Yeah, I thought of this when one day, ऐसे in Hong Kong. But because, I don't know whether everybody is an adult in this room. The She show is an adult show. And it's about a woman who has been indoctrinated to think that she is not sexually gratifying. And she accepts it, that ऐसे ही है. till she starts finding out that, "Arey, yaar, something has happened, I'm wearing different clothes, I'm posing differently, but men are turning towards me. What is happening?" And then she starts to enjoy that and how she uses that ultimately. So that was the story. Um, and yeah, I feel that a woman is a very interesting character for me.
Um, so another scene from Rockstar. I want you to tell us how did you come across that scene actually. So one day my little boy comes home from his school and he says that, Mama, someone showed me middle finger. So that's a big thing and it's a no-no in my house that no, you should not, But then your movie, that scene wherein, Ranbir Kapoor shows middle finger and to the world and, it's a very strong scene. And at that time, we all were like, yeah, the scene is demanded, accordingly you made that scene. But then how did that come? How did you make that bold move?
See, Rockstar was about struggle and about anti-establishment in a way. While doing Rockstar, all of us went into a trance zone, I think. And I also, coming from there, believe that if you do everything that you are told, if you only do everything that you are told and never break a rule, you will never discover who you really are. One of the rules is to break the rule. Otherwise, I feel in society, and this might be something that young people think anyways, if you don't break a system, you will never invent anything new in life. Everybody will tell you this is wrong, that is right, this is wrong, that is right. Why? It is not their original discovery. It is only because somebody else has told that that is wrong, that is right, this is wrong, that is right. After a period of time, you feel that this is not true, this is hypocritical, I don't feel like this, I'm doing this. And you get this feeling that I must break it. And unfortunately, breaking anything always looks unpleasant. That middle finger signifies that. And I'm not saying that people should go around saying, pointing that, but I'm definitely wanted to say in Rockstar that don't take the system for granted. A bit of chaos, a bit of breaking things, unevenness is good. It's all right, Just saying yes and doing what you are told is not good. That is hypocrisy. So I think that is why that signage was unpleasant. But I think it was symbolic for, trying to change things.
Right. Highway and Rockstar both are considered very unconventional. So, were there any challenges while making that movie, or it was just your thought and the script?
No, there was no big challenge. I mean, I think in Rockstar, the whole team was very united.
Okay.
And also in Highway, but in Rockstar especially, we were inventing things on the set. And everyone was so united and flowing in the same direction because the whole mass had connected. We were emotionally very united. And there was no challenge because everybody felt the same way. Okay. And there were very subtle things like this middle finger or certain situations in songs where, certain things happen. And like there was this scene where Jordan is playing the guitar and suddenly he just loses the sense of where he is. You know, strangely, I thought it would be very difficult for me to explain to the actor or to the cameraman or to the unit what is happening, but everyone understood. There's this other shot in the film where Ranbir in the Qawwali, in Kun Faya Kun, he looks up towards the minaret and he has a sense of something. And this is such an inexplicable thing. How can you explain what is it that happens in this? But believe me, all of you also understand. There are no words that can make you understand. I feel this is the thing about Indian people. They understand spirituality very easily, which is why I think films like Rockstar are not difficult to make.
The music in Rockstar was excellent. You know, I think everyone remembers that. All the movies, let it be Nadan Parinde or any of the songs. So these songs were a generation of, like, you know, it's like a generational song, you know, like Rockstar, all the songs, I think entire generation will remember for, I think, eternity. So where did all these song inspiration came from? Like when you were explaining to the songwriter or, you know, the music director, did you have to like say a lot about the movie or anything, or it just was in a flow?
No, it is my job to explain to the music director and the lyrics writer, in this case, Rahman and Irshad, what the situation is, etc., etc. But obviously, what they bring, the music Rahman sir has only brought, every bit of it. Much of the inspiration is within him, his mind also. So every song has a story. Every song has got many, like almost every word in Rockstar has some story that Irshad is written. But the fact is that the Irshad, Mohit, Chauhan, and more than these, Rahman sir, they are responsible for the music of Rockstar. And the fact that when they used to work, when they anyway work, it's like there's no tomorrow. When Rahman sir works, there's no tomorrow. There is no like shortcut. And it is just with the heart. So we really enjoyed the making of it, and I really enjoyed the making of it. But I'll tell you a trivia about this. So before we make the final songs, we make the rough versions of the songs where everything is not very clear, but you can still kind of make out the song. So we had the whole album, and I played it to Rishi Kapoor. And I was very friendly with him because I had done a film with him before. And Ranbir is his son, so I used to go to their house very often. And he did not like the album at all. He did not like the album, and he was like, I'm surprised that this is A.R. Rahman's album and I'm not liking it. And we were all, like I told Rahman sir later on, and he said, Acha, what was he saying? This, that, and the other. Then, later on, when the album released, 1 month passed, then Rishi said that, I'm listening to the album, it's not so bad. And then another 2 months later, he says, I can't believe I said this album is not so good. It's quite good, actually. Again, 2-3 months later, he says, this is the only album I listen to. I love this. There has never been any album like this before. So on and so forth. However, as a result of his observation, we did change one song, and we worked that little bit extra, and we created another song which according to us was a better melody, and that song was Nadan Parinde. So I feel that as a result of Rishiji's involvement in Rockstar album, we have one more song which is Nadan Parinde.
So, all your movies have some beautiful locations. You travel a lot, and I hear that you are a big foodie, and you shoot in beautiful locations. That's your, USP of all the movies. Uh, so, Assam is also a beautiful place, by the way, isn't it? So, do you have any plans to work in Assam or shoot in Assam?
Actually, I do have plans to work in Assam. And yeah, I have not seen much of Assam, but I have seen it. I've been to Guwahati a few times, and but what I've also seen is I've taken the chopper ride from Guwahati to Arunachal many times. So I've seen the terrain and the river, Brahmaputra from top. Such a wide river, looks like the sea, man. It's so powerful. And then I was told that this is the only river that is a male river in India, huh?
Male
How
river.
did that happen? What is the logic? Sorry?
Son of Brahma.
No, but why? Aisa kyun? Angry river, yeah, it's the angry river. It goes all. Sorry?
That's why it's. That's a very angry river because we have a lot of flood and erosion taking place in Assam every year.
But this is wrong. It should be the reverse.
So Brahmaputra happens to be a angry young gentleman.
Yeah. It's a beautiful river. And yeah, so I have hopes of coming and shooting because there's so much to it. You know, it's a subtle culture. Assamese culture, arts, designs, there's a subtlety in it. There's a sophistication in it. It's not loud bang bang, you know. It takes a little time to therefore be discovered. But when you do discover it, then for instance, the food. Although I had eaten before, but just the dal and how you eat with chawal and that nimbu thing, it is like drugs. It is amazing. But you have to be introduced to it, and then you have it one or two times. Everything in the Assamese spectre is like that, and I feel that I'm very thrilled with the hope that I will be now treading and going and seeing more and more. My friends who live in the Tezpur Jorhat side keep talking about the beauty of the forests and the hills over there, and the waterfalls and all of that. So I'm really looking forward to discovering Assam, not only Assam, but also the rest of the Northeast.
Thank you. And another one, you have your upcoming movie Chamkila, which is in the pipeline. Would you tell us something about it?
Yeah, Chamkila is a movie based on the life of a man by the same name, who was an artist in Punjab in the 1980s. And he is one of those unfortunate people that became extremely popular in his life, but also was killed at the age of 27. So he's a musician, and he was a very grassroots musician who used to do live performances. So it was a very thrilling experience for me to shoot in Punjab, which I believe is a wonderful, wonderful place, and it's a blessing every time to just be there. So I really enjoyed my time. It, I think, made me very fresh to be there and work there for months, and also in places which are very remote in Punjab. So hopefully people will like it when it comes out.
Nice. Lastly, could you share any advice or insight for aspiring filmmakers who aim to create meaningful and impactful films or movies in the future?
If they want to create meaningful, impactful films, then the first thing I have to say is don't take yourself very seriously. it's only then that you will go beyond the narrowness of your own knowledge system. Constantly challenge yourself. You can challenge yourself rudely. When you challenge other people, do it politely. Assamese people are very polite, so that will come naturally. But do challenge things and make it better. Make it better for you. Treat yourself as the main audience. You will know whether what you're doing is better or worse. You know, if you're second guessing, then it's perhaps not that coming from the heart. And that's all. Otherwise, really, there is no shortcut. There is no long way also. There is just the way. You have to create your own way. Unfortunately, the experience of anybody does not become applicable to anybody else. You know? So you have to be smart, take hold of your life, enjoy it, and just roll with it as much. Be truthful to yourself. I think these are things that help. The other thing is, don't run after money too much. You know, you run after work. My father said this, and this is one of the best advices I feel now that I have received, that you follow work, money will follow. You follow money, it will not come. I think that is one thing I can say. The rest you have to carve your own niche.
And there are a lot of changing trends that are happening in today's cinema. So how does a mainstream, of course you have done a lot of content for OTT as well, but then, you know, with this paradigm shift, how do you actually adjust? Because you've been making mainstream movies, and now OTT has come, and all sorts of content is actually accessible.
What is happening is actually that this is a good time for filmmakers and creative people, because, for instance, I could never make She's not a new story. I tried to make it in cinema, but then it was such a story that I couldn't make it in cinema because it was long. It was more a character study, not a plot-driven story, you know. I could never make it. But now that there is OTT and I could make a show, I made it. So gradually what is happening is that you don't, like earlier, every story that I had to make only feature film with it. Sometimes it was suitable, sometimes it was not suitable. So now I have, as a filmmaker, anybody who aspires to make films has so many options. You just have to be true to that particular story, and you will find an outlet or a medium. So I feel one should take very positively the changing trend. What is the changing trend is that, you know, people have a certain mentality, etc., because you also have that same mentality and I also have that same mentality. So I think this is a chance of actually telling your own original story, because people are only interested, if you notice, the things that are becoming successful are very typical to the people that are making it. So one must find what is in their own hearts.
And you also have a daughter, Eda, and she's also of this generation. Does she also give you inputs on what she likes or dislikes, and how does she take your projects?
So she has, you know, ever since she was a small kid, I had to tell her one story every night. A different new story. And then when she grew up, she also started telling me the stories. So over a period of time, what happened is that I started telling her the stories that I was making. And she used to say, well, this is how children are, no? That, why did this happen? I don't understand. So then I realized that, it's not passing this filter means it's wrong. So, you know, so she's been a part of my internal process.
Indirect approval kind of.
And then she says something and all that. So then she's been in that, and now she's also now studied filmmaking with an emphasis or major in direction. And now she's come back and she's starting to look for her own
So will
work.
she join you anytime soon?
She won't join me though. She will try to chart her own course.
Good evening, sir. I'm a very, very big fan. I'm trembling right now, but sir, I've watched all your movies and all of them are very acknowledged and known. But my favorite movie of yours is Laila Majnu, which is, I don't know why it is not acknowledged by people as much as it should be. So, what was your vision when you made that movie? It moved me. I am just 20, but it moved me, sir. I don't know. So, will you please talk about it a bit?
Yes, firstly, I'm very happy that you mentioned Laila Majnu. It is also a movie that I did not direct actually. It is directed by Sajid Ali, who is my younger brother. And he and I wrote the script together. But yes, the concept of making this movie in this way was mine. Laila Majnu is Laila Majnu. It's an old tale. But to make it freshly at this time, basing it in Kashmir is what I had in mind. But Sajid made the film, and I'm very glad that you like it so much. I feel that it touched some very pure things. Nah?
Sir,
So
it
I
did.
think that's why you like it.
Thank you so much, sir.
And
Thank
don't
you.
worry about being 20-year-old. You're as wise as you will ever be.
Thank you.
And I must also say that this session was very, very good, ma'am. And I really enjoyed being here and all of the...
The next question from Tanmoy Das, JNU.
And also it was very beautifully conducted by you, and that is why it was so interesting. I feel very entertained. Thank you.
Tanmoy Das, JNU.
Sir, my query is regarding, in most of your films that I watched, I heard someone mention Laila Majnu, Sir, Tamasha, and also Love Ajkal. Sir, we see an element of nostalgia and an element of unfulfilled desire in past, and how the characters in present, through their temporal, spiritual, and sentimental journey, they go towards that desire. And always has an element, I always find an element of past and unfulfilled desire. So, how do you explain your position there, sir? Thank you, sir.
What do I have to explain? My position. No,
Not actually position, like
I
how
got
do you like place those
There is-
characters in this element of nostalgia and this philosophy of unfulfilled desire, and how characters...
I know what you are saying.
Yes.
I think your observation is astute, and there is that thing of something lingering past, kuch, something like that, na, a feeling of some, I don't know, sometimes you feel that there is no logical explanation if one looks at themselves, forget about movies, but if you look at yourself also, there are some feelings, कभी क्या होता है, कोई पुराना गाना कहीं से सुनाई देता है, हाँ, आपने कभी सुना है, नहीं सुना है, पता नहीं, उसका कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है आपकी जिंदगी में, but when it plays, this happened recently, and actually, it was an SD Burman song. I'll tell you what happened. सोनो मेरे मितवा सोने मेरे किसी ने you guys I wish Papa knows here. So एक गाना है बहुत पुराना, हाँ, that played somewhere, and sometimes this happens, you're driving somewhere, you have no connection with the song, but it comes through, pierces your heart as though it is something from an old birth or something. And suddenly you're emotional. This sense of longing sometimes is very difficult to explain logically. And some of the best creation of arts are based on this. A lot of writers have written about it. Tagore has written about it. This inexplicable, magical longing for something. Some people say that this is the basis of all spirituality also. So, I can't explain my position, but I'm glad that you mention it.
सर अभी गदर 2 आई और सुपर हिट गई, सीक्वल था वो पहली का, तो जब भी मैट आप वापस लेकर आ रहे हैं, शानदार मूवी
जी, वो शानदार है तो शानदार ही रहे, उसको क्यों बनाने की ज़रूरत है फिर से ना? तो है ही, आपको मन करे तो फिर से देख लिया करो यार।
बट आई वुड मतलब मेरे ख्याल से सब लोग देखना चाहेंगे दोबारा। आप देखो कितने लोग देखना चाहते हैं।
नहीं पवन काम जाओ इन्होंने गूगल बैक टू यू
खैर मेरा अपना ओपिनियन है।
थैंक यू
एक्चुअली क्या है कि फॉर द सेक ऑफ मेकिंग अ सीक्वल तो नहीं बनाना चाहिए। सो अभी कुछ ऐसे रिपोर्ट्स आ रहे हैं, आई एम नॉट इन्वॉल्व विद दोज रिपोर्ट्स एट ऑल एक्चुअली, बट आई फील दैट a sequel should only be made when there is actually something very nice and plausible which has to be said or told, something perhaps even more interesting than the original, otherwise कोई point नहीं है।
Are movies medium of change or purely a reflection of director's liberty? So I want you to give some words on the balance between these two, the social commitments of the directors involved. Similarly, also on the ambiguity of what a successful cinema is. If it's merely the thing of blockbuster, will that be a setback to parallel cinema?
The first part of your question is very relevant actually. The sense of responsibility. It is only after becoming a director that I felt that I have a certain responsibility. Because suddenly I remembered that when I was a child, my set of morality was not taken from any religion. It was not taken from any code of conduct that the nation was putting forward in the constitution. It was being framed through movies. I feel that my morality is borrowed from the films that I've seen in my life, because I wanted to be like the good guy. I didn't want to be like the bad guy. I wanted to have a relationship with my relatives like how the hero has. I think moral code मैंने तो वहाँ से borrow किया है. Similarly, I felt that now people are going to watch my films, and maybe some people will get very influenced by what they see in it. And there are subconscious, subliminal ways of passing on a certain positivity or negativity through this mass medium of euphoria called cinema. You know, मैं तो खुद जब पिक्चर देखता हूँ तो आधे घंटे तक तो एक भूत सवार रहता है मेरे ऊपर. I'm not normal. I take a little time to get out of that thing. बहुत लोगों के साथ होता होगा, right? Like that happens to people. So I feel that in that state I can't corrupt anybody's mind, you know. So I try my best. Up till now I have not had a shot of smoking, for instance, because I feel that most people pick up smoking only for style, and they pick it up from cinema, and smoking is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. So I have that sense of social responsibility. It's only because जैसे हमने वो बनाया, actually वो बात भी रह गई थी, Highway. In Highway, the challenge was that I'm talking about this group of ruffians, no? They use very bad language, you know. But if I show that bad language, this film certification will definitely become adults. Okay, that's fine, I can make an adults film. But wo adults film hogi, to those girls that I'm actually making it for, you know, young teenage girls, they'll never get to watch it. What's the point of making this film? This was a difficulty. So I thought, अभी कुछ भी करके इसमें ना abusive language नहीं use करेंगे, या उस तरह का violence नहीं use करेंगे. We'll somehow still, so that it can reach out. So I don't know. So things like that one does, keeping in mind so-called social responsibility. And as far as success is concerned, I think success is what you think it is. The filmmaker thinks it is. And everybody is after a different bird in this garden, you know. Everybody is chasing a different animal. आपको जो पसंद है वही सक्सेस है आपके लिए. अगर आपके लिए वो बॉक्स ऑफिस है तो वो सक्सेस है. अगर वो लोगों का अटेंशन है तो वो सक्सेस है. If there is something else that you are chasing, then that is that. So you'll have to define success for yourself.
My question to you today is, do you feel that it is really important for us to break away from the quintessential or the conventional gender norms associated with movie characters, as in the way movie characters are conventionally portrayed as hero and heroine? Do you think it is discriminating or excluding of the LGBTQI plus community?
I think stories will evolve themselves. I think people will make those stories that comes to them naturally or that they are interested in. You know, a social norm can neither be imposed upon anybody or taken away from anybody. If somebody wants to make a movie which is exactly like how other movies have been made before, then so be it, if that is his call. I think everyone should have the liberty to make the kind of movie they want to make. Yes, of course, if there is something offensive to a certain community or a non-inclusive attitude to a certain community, it has to be addressed.
Thank you so much.
The last question of the evening will come from Mandeep Bora, political science student, SZTB Khalsa College.
You say that that cinema cannot evolve in isolation. So my question is, what relation does art, or in particular cinema, share with the historical context in which it comes up? So for example, post-independence, whatever art or cinema we had, they had a kind of socialist inclination. Then in 90s that came up, it gave birth to the SRK phenomenon. Then when the time frame in which you made Rockstar, that historical context was also different. So my question is art destined to be confined by the contours of that historical context that is defined by its own politics? So do you think a movie like Rockstar could have come up in these times of depolarization? So this is my first question. And secondly, this comes from a kind of fanboy thing.
What are you doing in GTB Khalsa College? Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College mein aap.
I am pursuing my political science honors.
Political science, huh?
Yeah.
Good. Where are you from? Bengal?
No, I am
Assam.
from Assam. I am from
Okay.
Majuli. It's the world's largest inhabited river island in the Brahmaputra.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
The male river. It is too aggressive. We have, since I am from Majuli, we have felt that aggression in its peak. I mean,
Is that aggression in you also?
I hope.
Are you free of your historical context or not?
I would like to mention one thing. We have this book called Bhupen as I Knew Him. It is written by Kalpana Lazmi. So there, Kalpana Lazmi.
You know, I've met both of them together.
So there, Kalpana Lazmi describes Bhupen Hazarika to be carrying the agony of the Brahmaputra in his eyes. So I just hope someday someone will say that I also bring the agony of the Brahmaputra in my eyes. So, my second question is that the character of Piyush Mishra in Tamasha is the most fascinating part for me. So since I am a fanboy of Piyush Mishra as well, I would like to just know your chemistry with that guy.
What a great. I am also a fanboy of Piyush Mishra.
Piyush Mishra was the senior most member of Act 1. I was talking about Act 1. And I was the junior most member of Act 1 during the time that I was in Hindu and used to go down to and हमारा NSD में rehearsal होता था. So Piyush was a big shot and I was flunky. And so Piyush used to make the songs even at that point of time, etc. So and we've been very fond of each other and we've been in touch and we also worked in Rockstar and then in Tamasha. He just had to talk. It was very frustrating for him. My chemistry with him would have become physics also. Because every night he used to call me after having a few drinks and saying that whatever I'm trying to do, you're saying no, just talk. I'm trying to put some drama and I'm saying don't do it. So he had a very, very tough time doing that whole film. He was then only happy after he did the last scene, because that was for an actor the only scene to perform really. The rest he's just telling a story. So it became frustrating for him. But he's a very, very talented person. He's a very uniquely talented person. We should have more people like Piyush Mishra. I'm very fortunate that I've known him now for decades and decades in my life. And he's added a lot of value to not only me, but to the film industry in more ways than one. About your previous question, I think that's a very important thing. And yes, I do believe that when I say cinema does not breed in isolation, it is a part of its political, social, historical context. That Amitabh Bachchan, the angry young man, was created at the same time that Moh Bhang was created in Hindi literature, when people were disillusioned and there was an anger that was coming in after a certain number of years of the Indian independence. So yes, the social context keeps changing and cinema also keeps changing. And what was a bit socialist at that time has become a bit more consumeristic at this time. So वो सब होता है, and it is a reflection, but it also changes it. So it has an umbilical cord going both ways.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Imtiaz Ali.